Okay, so today I'm going to be heading off to super training to coach 3 lifters. I game day coach all of the team SEF lifters at national championships and at some of the divisional championships like this one. So today I thought it'd be a really good opportunity to kind of try and vlog and give you a really good guide of game day coaching and some of the things you might need to think about. So kind of the things that I've run through early in the week with these lifters will be a pre-game day check-in where we've run through all of the information we needed for today. Now, what I mean by that is we will have taken their current peak and extrapolated data to work out what their estimated 1RM is. From that, we're going to look at about 95 to 97% as being their second attempt, and their first attempt is going to be around 89 to 92%. We're going to work all the way back to their first warm-up, and then that way we've got a really good idea of how long it's going to take us to get them ready, warmed up, so that they can hit the platform. And then obviously when we get there, but we've also checked beforehand what the flights are, so we know roughly the sort of times we're going to be warming up. But again, when we get there, I'll check again. Really good points to remember here is a great saying, which is failing to plan is planning to fail. So how that comes into game day coaching is think about pre-planning pretty much everything from your warm-ups, obviously all of your attempts. Make sure you know that before you show up. That's super important. But you also want to pre-plan the route there in advance. You want to try and have a look at the lifting flights. Make sure you pack your bag with all your kit the night before, possibly prepare food. All of these things are going to really ensure that you have a great experience, enjoy your lifting, and get the most out of the day. So again, just think about planning in advance. Now, there is a caveat to that, which is your 1RM is a dynamic variable. And what I mean by that is it changes from day to day. So just because you've got some data that says that this is your 1RM or it should be that, or you've put it into a formula and it's calculated that that's what that is, doesn't mean it's going to be there on the day. There might be more, there might be less. So be prepared to roll with the punches. That's key to really being successful and putting down the numbers and getting the attempts that you really want in there and just building a total. Okay, so I'm going to head off now. Okay, so here we are at super training. That took a little bit longer than I thought, kind of driving through a storm. Don't know where that came from. But yeah, anyway, here we are. So as I promised, a little bit more information. Sorry about that, I'm getting messaged like mad. So yes, I am running pretty late. But one thing before I do run in there that I do want to do is go through the coaching bag, or obviously if you're a lifter, you were going to make sure that you probably brought talc. Chalk, talc, other little things that are good, if you're a coach especially, is a wedge for the deadlift. So if your back's pretty knackered by the end of the day, you can just make life a little easier loading bars. End collars, salts, just in case somebody's getting a bit of cramping if they've cut weights, nose torque, calculator, and lots of pens. That's super important. Oh, I am, once I get in there and come back out, I am going to hopefully run through just very, very quickly some attempts and strategies. But right now, I'm going to have to go in there, start coaching, and then between the morning break and the afternoon break, I'm going to run back out, just to hopefully give you a quick overview of attempts, selections, and what might be smart choices and things to think about. Okay, so here we are at super training Cheltenham. It's about 5 minutes from Cheltenham. So competition's going on today in here. Just see if I can get a pan around of the front of it. We've got a coffee shop there. And yeah, there it is. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do when I get in there is go and find an official and see if there's been any changes to the running order of the day to make sure that I know what time I need to start warming up my lifters. Then I'm going to go around and check out where the weighing rooms will be, where the kit checks will be, the rack heights will be taken. I'm trying to gather as much information as possible so I can have a nice smooth running game day. Yep, go on Mario. Good job. Go on Mario, come on! Yep, go on Mario! Yep, yes! Okay, so that's one lifter down. That was the morning groups done. Okay, so now I've got 2 lifters in the afternoon group. Their weigh-in was at 12 and they'll be lifting off at 2, so I've got a small break now, hence why I'm talking to you. Just going to go back to the final thing really, or bit of information you probably want to make sure you know before you're going to go into a competition, and that's attempt selections and what are they, some sensible kind of choices for what they should be. Okay, so obviously at first, like we said before, you want to extrapolate the data from your current training program, work out what your estimated 1RM is. From there, normally your first attempt will be between 89 and 92% of your estimated 1RM. This should really be something that you could do for 3 reps on a bad day. That's super important. And also, in my opinion, it's something I always tell my lifters and I always say to people is really your first attempt on the platform should be a last warm-up, apart from your last warm-up is on the platform in front of referees with commands. Talking of warming up as well, is when you are warming up, the last few singles is what I'd usually suggest to do. Some singles as your last few sets coming into that warm-up. Try to do those on commands and try and create that competition environment as best you can. That way when it comes down to getting on the platform, it's not going to feel foreign. You can just go straight into it. Okay, so that's first attempt anyway, and kind of a little bit about warm-ups. Your second attempt normally is going to be about 95 to 97%. Second attempt really has kind of 3 main purposes. Firstly, it's going to build a total, obviously. It's also going to allow you to prime your nervous system better for that third and final attempt. So that's the second thing it's going to really do. It's also going to be a really, really good tool for you to be able to better estimate what your 1RM is, what your third and final attempt of the day is going to be. So you're using that second attempt for those 3 things, and that's what the feedback you should be able to get. Now, hopefully you've got it pretty close and you're thinking that you've got, because obviously that's going to be anywhere between 95 and 97%. So you're going to have that 5 to 3% left in the tank for that third and final attempt. So talking through the third and final attempt, ultimately, obviously this is the big one that you really, really want. In my opinion, definitely with the squat and to a degree, you know, with the bench as well, leaving a little in the tank isn't always a bad thing. So try and hit a sensible PB, try and think about, you know, getting as close to 100% of your 1RM. But obviously if you step over, there's the caveat. If you step over, you're not building a total. So super, super important to think about next attempts after that. And sometimes it's worth leaving a little in the tank. On the bench, that could be the case as well. But again, as always, we're not saying sandbag it. I'm just saying, like, get as close to 100% as you can. Okay, so here we are warming Emily up for her first attempt. We're making sure all of the warm-ups are completed at least 3 minutes before the beginning of her flight. This is important as you're allowed to make 1 change to your opener as long as it's done 3 minutes before the beginning of your flight. So we can assess how things move and make a judgment and make last minute changes if we need to. Come on, set it up, get tight. are your attempt slips. You have to write in your next attempt and hand it in within 60 seconds of completion of your lift. Oh, look, and here's Ems. Here she is.
Hi.
Here's my girl.
Hi.
Hello. Right, didn't get our third attempt on the squat. Didn't quite execute the way we wanted today, but let's see if we can have a video on video.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah, can you see? Hold on.
Video on video.
This is the fail. Oh, I was going, and then I said no.
Oh well, better luck next time. Go on, Ed. Come on, all the way through. Let's get it, Ems. Come on, chest up. It. Nice and smooth now. Smooth. Good job. I'm actually going to film it as we go.
Oh. And you take, come take it with my
Okay,
phone.
so we're at super training. Had a great day.
Yeah.
Okay, so that pretty much wraps up today. I had 3 lifters I was coaching on the day. We got 7 out of 9 with one lifter, 7 9 out of the other. Not perfect, obviously, and then finishing off the day on a massive high. I managed to get 9 out of 9 with a lifter I was handling for the day, and she absolutely smashed it. Real pleasure handling her. That was Lola. But yeah, overall had an awesome day. Signing off. Please subscribe. I'm going to try and see if I can insert some sort of weird button thing. I probably can't. So anyway. Cheers. Oh, and massive thanks to Super Training, all the referees, spotter and loaders, absolutely awesome. You know, obviously none of this stuff would be possible without everybody putting a lot of hard work in and organising. So, see ya.